Welcome back to the Deep Dive. You are busy, and we are here to provide the ultimate shortcut. We take dense, high-level source material and distill it all down into critical, usable insight.
And today we are diving deep into what you could call the nerve center of the global economy, modern logistics management.
Our sources for this are drawn from the foundational concepts of the L5M10 certification framework.
Right, but these aren't just definitions from a textbook. These are the strategic pillars that make supply chains efficient, resilient, or, when they're managed poorly, deeply fragile.
Exactly. So our mission here is to move past the glossary.
We want to deliver the strategic trade-offs and the operational insights that really matter.
We're going to map out the whole landscape for you, starting with the biggest philosophical umbrella, and then drilling down into the digital systems that actually automate the whole process.
Yeah, logistics has really evolved. It's not just about movement anymore. It's become pure data science and integration.
So we're going to pull out the most important nuggets you need to understand. Let's start with that big, holistic view, the foundational philosophy known as the Total Logistics Concept, or TLC.
TLC is absolutely where the strategic conversation has to begin.
Okay.
It's the philosophy that basically says you have to treat all logistical activities, so transport, inventory, warehousing, packaging.
All of it.
All of it. Not as separate departments, but as one single integrated system.
Now, on paper, that sounds perfectly logical. I mean, of course, you'd want to treat it as one system, but where's the difficulty in actually, implementing that?
Well, the difficulty, and this is the core strategic insight, is that TLC fundamentally challenges corporate silos.
Right.
In most companies, different parts of logistics report to different managers, each with their own budget. The goal of TLC is to minimize total costs across the entire system.
So you might have to spend more in one area to save overall.
Precisely. You might have to intentionally increase costs somewhere. Let's say you pay more for faster transportation because it leads to a much greater overall savings somewhere else, like in reduced inventory holding costs.
So the challenge isn't the theory, it's organizational. It's about convincing the transport manager that spending an extra $100 is a good idea because it saves the inventory manager $500.
Yes, and that requires cross-departmental budgeting, which is a massive hurdle for a lot of places.
You're optimizing the whole chain, not just one link in it.
You got it. It forces a level of collaboration and trade-off analysis that a lot of traditional structures just aren't built for.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, so if we accept that everything has to be integrated, we also have to acknowledge the flow isn't always one way. Products come back.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about the complexity of reverse logistics.
Reverse logistics is the counterflow.
Yeah.
And it introduces, exponential complexity. It's operating against the grain of systems that were all designed for linear forward movement.
And our sources point to two critical areas here, right?
Yes, two main areas that companies really have to manage. The first is the one everyone thinks of, the routine handling of customer returns and repairs.
The after-sales service part.
Exactly. But the second one has become incredibly high stakes for modern companies, and that's managing the disposal or recycling of end-of-life products.
And that's not just waste management.
No, not at all. It's about value recovery. Think about pulling precious components out of old electronics, for example.
That's a key distinction. So it's not just the headache of dealing with a faulty toaster. It's a systematic way to find latent value and, I guess, show environmental responsibility.
And that links directly to brand image. But it's hard. It needs different warehousing, different tracking systems, often specialized partners. It's a huge part of sustainability goals now.
Speaking of mitigating risks, let's talk about that classic trade-off in inventory. Safety stock. We all know it's buffer inventory, but what's its main strategic purpose today?
Safety stock exists because, well, the world isn't perfectly predictable. Its primary purpose is to protect your service level by mitigating the risk of stockouts.
And stockouts happen for, what, two main reasons?
Two main uncertainties, yeah. Either customer demand is way higher than you predicted, or your supplier lead times are longer than you expected.
But safety stock is expensive. It costs money to hold it. If the goal of TLC is to minimize total costs, how does a manager figure out if that cost is worth it?
Yeah.
How do you even quantify the cost of disappointing a customer?
That is the million-dollar question. You can quantify the carrying cost pretty easily. The warehousing, insurance, obsolescence, that's straightforward.
But the other side.
Quantifying customer disappointment, that means you have to estimate the long-term impact on loyalty and future lost sales. So the strategic decision is this. You hold safety stock to basically buy stability.
So it's like an insurance policy.
It is. If you calculate that a stock out costs you, say, 5 times what the carrying cost is, then the buffer is absolutely justified. It's insurance against volatility.
That frames it perfectly. It's the cost of stability in an unstable world.
Okay.
Okay, so we've set up the strategic framework. Now, this whole operation relies on a digital backbone. Let's look at the systems that manage all this complexity, starting with the manufacturing engine. Materials Requirements Planning, or MRP.
Right, MRP.
It's highly dependent on data, so what two inputs does it absolutely have to function?
Think of MRP as the nervous system of production, and it is completely dependent on two non-negotiable data inputs. The first one is the bill of materials, the BM.
Which is?
It's the complete official recipe for every single finished product you make, the precise component list.
The product's DNA, basically.
That's a good way to put it. And the second input is the master production schedule, or MPS. The MPS tells the system exactly when and how many of the finished goods need to be completed.
So you combine the what from the BM with the when and how many from the MPS.
And then MRP can just explode those requirements back into time-phased material orders, making sure components arrive exactly when they're needed.
So if either the recipe or the timing is off, the entire system just grinds to a halt.
Oh, absolutely. MRP runs on precision. Garbage in, logistical chaos out.
Okay, moving from making things to moving them.
Yeah.
We need the transport management system, the TMS. This is the brain of the external network. What are the three core functions of a good TMS?
A good TMS does so much more than just schedule a truck. The sources highlight 3 functions that really drive strategic value. First is route planning and optimization.
Which has to be dynamic, I assume.
It has to be. It needs to adjust to real-time conditions to minimize mileage and time. The second is carrier selection and freight cost management, which is all about finding the best balance of service and cost.
And the third one, it probably connects back to that stability we talked about.
It does. It's real-time vehicle tracking. This is the visibility piece.
Yeah.
Knowing where your stuff is lets you manage customer expectations and, crucially, respond instantly to disruptions.
Right, like weather or road closures.
A TMS gives the manager control and leverage over the often chaotic world of freight.
Control over chaos. I like that. So how do all these different systems, these partners, talk to each other seamlessly? I mean, manual stuff like email is just too slow.
And way too error-prone. That's why we rely on electronic data interchange, or EDI.
So what's the main advantage of EDI?
The advantage is fundamentally about machine readability and standardization. EDI provides a standardized, automated, computer-to-computer exchange of business documents.
Things like purchase orders, invoices.
Exactly. Purchase orders, invoices, advanced shipping notices, you name it.
The efficiency part is obvious, but why is that standardization piece so important?
Well, just think about the alternative. You have 2 companies, and their data is in different formats, maybe typed into spreadsheets.
Some poor soul has to re-enter it all.
Right, which introduces huge time delays and, of course, typing errors. EDI guarantees the structure. It removes the human from the process, which eliminates those errors and makes sure documents are processed instantly.
So you eliminate the human weak link in that communication chain. Okay, but before that data even hits the EDI format, how do you capture the physical movement on the floor? That's where ADC comes in.
Auto-identification and data capture. So think barcodes, RFID tags.
What's their primary job in the warehouse?
The goal of ADC is to maximize speed and minimize error. So its primary purpose is to collect data on items and their location accurately and quickly, with as little human effort as possible.
It's the mechanism that turns a physical movement into a digital record.
Exactly. A pallet gets scanned, an RFID tag passes a reader, and that system feeds real-time data right back to the inventory system. That instant update is critical for everything else, especially for a system like MRP that needs accurate stock levels.
Okay, let's move inside the warehouse itself. We know travel time, all that walking, is the #1 efficiency killer. So let's look at a specific method for tackling that. Zone picking. How does it work?
Zone picking is a really strategic way to manage large warehouses. The physical space is divided into defined sections or zones.
And each picker stays in their zone.
Yes, each order picker is assigned to work only in their specific zone. The benefit is a massive reduction in walking. But there's a trade-off.
There always is. What is it?
The challenge is consolidation. The order has to get passed sequentially from zone to zone, almost like a bucket brigade. And all the pieces are only brought together at the end for packing.
So you need a really smart system to manage that.
You need an incredibly robust warehouse management system, a WMS, to sequence the order correctly and make sure parts don't get lost or delayed between the zones.
So you're trading physical inefficiency, the walking, for system complexity.
Precisely. The system has to orchestrate that flow, or you just replace one bottleneck with another one.
That's a great example.
Okay.
Let's pivot back to the external world in capacity planning. Say a company is facing demand that's just all over the place, highly variable. Which capacity strategy is the most difficult and costly in that scenario?
That would be the chase demand plan.
And why is that one, I mean, it sounds responsible, trying to perfectly match supply with demand? Why is it the most disruptive?
Because it requires constant, radical adjustments to your internal capacity. Think of it like trying to perfectly match a really erratic heartbeat.
Right.
When demand spikes, you hire people, you train them, you pay massive overtime. When demand falls, you lay people off or you mandate short hours.
The internal volatility must be just astronomical.
It is. The sources point out that this isn't just costly in financial terms like severance and hiring fees. It also just destroys employee morale. Quality defects go up because you have a constantly rotating workforce. It's highly disruptive.
It's the opposite of the stability you get from safety stock, but on a human level.
Well said.
We've gone from philosophy to systems, through the warehouse floor and into high-level strategy. Let's wrap up our deep dive by focusing on the ultimate measure of success, the customer. Let's introduce the Net Promoter Score, or NPS.
NPS. It's a simple but really powerful loyalty metric, and its popularity comes from the fact that it asks just a single question of the customer.
Which is?
How likely are you to recommend our product or service to a friend or colleague?
And what makes that one question so predictive of success?
Companies love it because it moves beyond just satisfaction. It focuses on true loyalty and advocacy. Customers get segmented into promoters, passives, and detractors, and the score measures their willingness to advocate for you.
And that correlates to real business outcomes.
Strongly. The data shows it's correlated with future revenue growth, higher repeat business, and lower price sensitivity.
So in the long run, success isn't just about the lowest cost today. It's about building that foundation of loyalty that NPS is trying to measure.
Absolutely. The entire integrated total logistics concept, the speed of EDI, the accuracy of ADC, the stability from safety stock, it all funnels down to maintaining the service level that creates those promoters. That is a strategic challenge worth exploring further.
Indeed it is. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the essentials of modern logistics management. We hope you feel significantly more well-informed.
We'll see you next time.